We are speaking with Reserve Brigadier General Yossi Kuperwasser, former head of the Research Department in IDF Intelligence, against the backdrop of the announcement by the IDF Chief of Staff of his intention to resign, a dramatic, if perhaps anticipated move. What is your assessment?
Well, yes, I think it's mainly anticipated. I don't know if it is dramatic or not. We shall see what's going to follow it, who's going to be the next Chief of Staff, but and what kind of attitude is going to bring us. Is it going to be a different one to the one led by Herzi Halevi, General Herzi? I think that it reflects the fact that everybody understands that he was directly responsible, maybe the most responsible amongst those who were involved in leading the military during the 7th of October massacre, and that was carried out by Hamas. And he understands, he admits that this is the case, and he assumes responsibility, and bears the responsibility, and understands that he has to go. He couldn't do it until now because the military was involved constantly in a war, but now the war is come to a very critical stage, and in which the fighting on most arenas has come to an end, at least temporarily. So it's a good time for him to reflect on the mistakes he made, and he's going to finish the investigations of what happened that are led inside the military and present them to the Minister of Defense, and then leave.
The head of the IDF Southern Command also informed Halevi of his intention to step down. Do you see this the start of a similar moves in the top ranks?
Sure. They were both in the military. They were both directly responsible as the commanders for what happened on the 7th of October. And now that we reached this hostage deal with Hamas, it's a good timing for them to do what they were about to do anyhow, eventually, when the time is right.
And yet, at the same time, there are achievements, but the timing of Halevi's decision comes at a point perhaps where the first stage of the hostage release deal and the Gaza ceasefire will be near or coming to completion, yet the challenging elements, the next phases and onwards, are still left open.
Yeah, I think that the specific date that he chose for his resignation is the 6th of March, which is 2 days after the end of the 40 days of ceasefire with Hamas. And he wants to make sure that as many hostages come back under his leadership of the military. He believes, I think, that he made a very successful campaign against Hamas, and that had a major contribution to the decision of Hamas to go for this deal. That's the way he interprets the situation. I think to a larger extent he's right, but it's not exactly like that. I think that when you look at the language he uses in his resignation letter, he says that he managed to lead to the dismantlement of Hamas military capabilities, and by that he uses a term in Hebrew that is peruk, instead of what he was ordered to do, which was mitut, which is destroying Hamas militarily. He just dismantled, he didn't destroy it. And we saw it 2 days ago when the release took place. And we saw how many Hamas people were in the streets.
So it means there is still much work left for his successor to come in.
Definitely. If the successor is going to do the destruction of Hamas, then it's going to be a different attitude and much more deeper activities of the IDF inside Gaza to remove Hamas from power. What we need to do is to remove Hamas from power. And Herzi's approach was that removing Hamas from power is too expensive financially and too costly in human lives. Soldiers' lives that shouldn't be done. And this was the tension between him and the government throughout the last 15 months. So we'll see, as I said, that who's going to replace him, and if it's going to be somebody who's going to be ready to take harsher measures against Hamas in Gaza.
Shifting a little bit to earlier developments today, the launch of a counter-terror operation in Jenin. Where is this coming from, especially at a point from the recent developments in Gaza, and even thinking back from prior to October 7th, where very much focus of the IDF was in the situation in that region, in Judea and Samaria?
Well, first of all, we've been carrying attack operations in Jenin for on and off for a long time now. And so this is another one of those operations, maybe a little bit bigger, but I don't think it signifies totally different approach. The reason for the timing is, I think there are three reasons for the timing. First of all, there is the release of the terrorists that are released in the context of the hostage deal to the areas controlled by the Palestinian Authority, including Jenin, and so that there is a need to make sure that this is not going to be translated into terror wave against civilians, Israeli civilians in the territories themselves and beyond. So that's one reason. Second reason is that the Palestinian Authority that was fighting against the terrorists in the Jenin area has decided to bring its operation to an end. And as they said, we encourage the terrorists of Jenin to carry out attacks against Israel, not against us. Their motivation to operate against the terrorists was that they were afraid that they are going to challenge their ability to govern Jenin. They were not motivated by the need to stop terror from the northern Samaria area, but they were doing the job that Israel is about to do for their own reasons. And now that this is over, we have to do it ourselves. And thirdly, I think there is also an issue of what do we do now that we are quiet all over the place? We have more forces available to carry out security operations in the areas controlled by the Palestinian Authority, especially at a time when there are terror attacks against Israelis emanating from this area. So let's use the fact that we have more forces and focus on the northern Samaria area.